going to be rereading Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire. This book came out, I believe, in 2013, 2014, let's see, 2011, copyright 2011. But I think I read it 2013, 2014, but you probably have seen this cover in your local barns or local bookstores. This is going to be a movie. Dylan Sprouse is going to be Travis Maddox. I'm so excited to see how he plays Travis Maddox's character. I remember a little bit of how everything went down, but I'm going to see just how my fully developed adult brain interprets this book, especially having gone through college already. Just like being older, I'm 24 now. I read this book whenever I was like 13, 14. This is going to be a spoiler reading vlog. Of course, there will be non-spoiler moments, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the plot and everything as I go because I love this book so much. I'm gonna be doing a Beautiful Disaster reading vlog. Let's get started. I did want to show you guys my little annotation supplies. I have all my colored pens and a highlighter, single highlighter. And then on the inside, I have all like my page tabs and whatnot. I just got these super cool ones that I'm super excited to try. These are from the shop Rose Colored Days. You just pull it up. It's a thin little tab. That's what it looks like after. And I think it's nice because I don't have to like physically highlight the book. So I thought I would share them because I'm going to be using them in this reading vlog. Let's get to reading Beautiful Disaster. Are already 5 pages into the book and they've met each other. They have their first interaction. Highlight. I need to definitely annotate this part. Oh, he called her pigeon already. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm on page 8 to 9. So the end of page 8 to the beginning of page 9. Travis is just putting on the moves. She keeps like rolling her eyes because like his moves are not working on her, and he goes, "Do you have a twitch?" Or she's like, "What?" And he's like, "A twitch. Your eyes keep wiggling around." And then he goes, "Those are some amazing eyes though. What color is that anyway? Gray?" Oof, he's just so smooth. I literally want to highlight everything. It's just like taking a little bit extra longer because like I have to pull the tab off, which I really don't mind because I want to take my time reading this. He has just called her pigeon for the second time. The first time was whenever we see them in the ring and she stumbles into him. I am loving this book so far. I'm obviously like hyped up in my head about it, so everything is a lot more intense. I don't remember everything happening so quickly last time. So right after he's like putting on all his moves to kind of get a little bit of a reaction out of Abby, she says, "I didn't like the way that it made me feel when he was so close. I didn't want to be like the scores of other girls at Eastern that blushed in his presence. I didn't want him to affect me in that way at all." I'm on page 13. And Abby has agreed to go over to Travis's. They happen to have like one of the same classes together, and he ends up sitting next to her. The professor walks in and says, "Who can tell me which president had a cross-eyed wife with a bad case of the uglies?" And then Travis goes, "Make sure you get that down. I'm gonna need that for job interviews." LOL. Laughing out loud I am. Officially finished the first chapter of Beautiful Disaster. Abby and Travis have gone on almost like a little bit of a date. He's taken her out to get some food and they're talking, getting to know each other. I definitely think that things are happening a little bit fast. Not romantically, but because like they're literally just becoming friends. But like I said, it's been a very long time since I've read this book, so things aren't happening exactly how I remember it. I am loving it nonetheless. I can just imagine this being a movie, and I'm just so excited. Before I continue to talk about the book, I did just kind of want to introduce the series in general. Jamie McGuire, I want to say she literally created the genre of new adult. This is the Beautiful Disaster series. So the first one is Beautiful Disaster, and this is the OG cover, but this is the cover that you'll probably see in your bookstores. After Beautiful Disaster is Walking Disaster. This is basically Beautiful Disaster told through Travis's POV, and then there's a novella called A Beautiful Wedding. This is a very, very short, small novella, but she recently just released Almost Beautiful, which is, I guess, the sequel to the original book. So up until now, we hadn't had a official sequel to the book. Thus far, I've made it to chapter 11, which is page 200 in the book. Some things that I'm already loving or have already been enjoying right off the bat from this book, that it's kind of just bringing back a sense of nostalgia. It's very interesting because now that I am a young adult, or like an actual adult, my perception and my perspective surrounding certain things in the book have definitely changed, and there are some things that I just did not remember. It's very interesting because at first it wasn't that I wasn't liking the book, but it definitely, there were certain things that were rubbing me the wrong way in terms of the characters. But something that also has been in the back of my mind is one of my favorite YouTuber or booktubers. She goes under Jamie's Library. She talks a lot about how she enjoys flawed characters, or takes the time to appreciate flawed characters, for the reason that we as humans are not perfect. And I think that a lot of times, and whenever she said that, it kind of clicked for me. I think that a lot of times, in a way, I'm almost sort of looking for that perfect character, or that character that's going to fit this mold in my head, when in reality, it's the whole point of reading so many different books, like challenging yourself to branch out to different genres and different authors. With this book in particular, I've been taking extra time to read it because I have been annotating it, and annotating books always takes a little bit of extra time to stop and highlight and write your thoughts and whatnot. I haven't updated the camera since chapter 1, and I'm on page 200, chapter 11, which, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened. Literally so much stuff has happened. Travis Maddox is the bad boy player of Eastern University. He's untouchable. No woman can tame him. Abby literally wants nothing to do with him. She's like repulsed by him. For some reason, he's intrigued by her and is like determined to prove to her that he doesn't want to only get into her pants, and like actually wants to be her friend. And they slowly but surely develop this friendship. Chapter 4, which is absolutely one of my favorite chapters. That's also something that I love about Jamie McGuire. She titles each of the chapters and sort of has a reference to like a significant point in the chapter. So chapter 4 is titled The Bet, and in chapter 4 we get another glimpse of one of Travis's underground fights, and Abby ends up making a bet with Travis because she doesn't believe that he allows other opponents to hit him. He basically says that it's his choice to let someone else hit him, otherwise he would go untouched in a fight. And so she basically challenges him to prove it. He ends up fighting someone and they don't end up landing a punch, and the bet, the wager, was that Abby either sleep at Travis's house for a month or he would go celibate for a month. Abby ends up losing the bet, so she ends up having to move in with Travis. And granted also that he lives with Shepley, who is not only Travis's cousin, but Abby's best friend, America's boyfriend. So America's constantly at Shepley's house as well. So it's not entirely too weird. And so she ends up moving in to Travis's house. She ends up having to sleep in Travis's bed. And they just like kind of create this interesting dynamic between them, where it's like Abby is trying her hardest not only give in to her own like subtle temptations that she kind of feels brewing, but also like is trying so hard to define herself as just like a woman that's able to have a friendship with a male, especially Travis Maddox. They slowly but surely kind of start getting closer and closer. I mean, duh, they're literally living in the same room, in the same bed, and seeing each other every single day. And so their friendship starts to just brew. Meanwhile, Abby's sort of getting pursued by one of her classmates named Parker Hayes. And that is also, I think, the name of chapter 11. I mean, excuse me, chapter 5. Chapter 5, which is literally titled Parker Hayes. Abby ends up kind of getting this weird dynamic going on between her and Travis and her and Parker, this triangle dynamic. She is kind of very interested in Parker Hayes. He's also very mature, maybe is a proper word. His family is like old money, so he has like a different aura to him, and she's intrigued by like the goodness that Parker seems to bring, but she is enthralled by the bad boy trouble vibe that Travis is, and she can't help but to be pulled to Travis. He continues to tell everyone that they're just friends, and we can slowly even see that even Travis is like, crazy, like, you're delusional, you're just telling yourself that we're friends. And even her best friend Amanda is upset at her for how she continues to treat Travis whenever he's changed in such immense ways, in ways that Abby chooses not to see. Not doing it justice. Like, I'm genuinely not doing it justice. This book and the way that it's able to convey emotion through each character in their own different ways is so amazing. It's literally so amazing. So after chapter 5, chapter 6 is Turning Point, and it just deals with a little bit of like the issues of Travis wrapping his head around Abby dating someone else whenever he's literally putting himself out there so hard for her. So chapter 7 is all about Abby's 19th birthday, and it's such a fun chapter because Travis ends up throwing her a surprise party. She ends up like getting super drunk, wasted. We end up learning a lot about her family, her dad in particular. And then also in chapter 8-ish and 9, we get a lot about her family as well, about her dad. But chapter 8 is Rumors, and it's basically about how a rumor gets released or spread around Eastern about Abby and how she combats it. Chapter 9 is a tumultuous chapter because it's the end of the bet and Abby's finally able to go home on her own accord. She's no longer inclined to stay at Travis's house due to the bet, and so she ends up going back to her dorm after a very intense night. And going home that night, it causes some drama between her and Travis and everything. Abby still just continues to lie to herself and pretend like she can just say her feelings are nothing. But we all know deep inside that they are meant to be, that she loves Travis, right? But anyways, it's part of the angst. So chapter 10 is called Poker Face. I mean, chapter 10 is my favorite chapter. I don't know. It just starts getting good, guys. It just starts getting good. I mean, this book is just chef's kiss. So now I'm on chapter 11, which is titled Jealousy, and I'm very interested to see what that means. I'm on page 203. Travis and Abby walk into the cafeteria for the first time since they became an official couple, or just decided that they wanted to start dating each other. And while they're sitting down, Travis asks, "You gonna eat that pidge?" And she says, "No, you can have it, baby." Stop it! I'm going to annotate that. Something that is a little bit hard to grasp sometimes is that, like, for example, on page 206, Travis is kind of a bully in a way, but like a chivalrous bully. Like he bullies others who are bullying them first, but it's like he's like a physical bully, and so he's like literally beating people up, which, I mean, like, it's part of his character. He literally fights in underground MMA fights, but it's like he's literally beating this guy to a pulp, kicking him in the back, and blood is flowing. I don't know, it's just a little bit hard to grasp because it's like, we're putting up with that? Y'all putting up with that? That's battery. That's a charge right there. Or 2 or 3. I don't know. But, you know, 13, 14, 15-year-old me ate that shit up. So we're gonna let it slide. My last couple annotations have just been about Shepley. It says, Shepley has an uncanny ability to make everyone around him feel at ease. No doubt the result from growing up around Travis and his brothers. First of all, I need a Shepley America story. A Mepley, Shepica. Something interesting just happened. Parker Hayes just approached Abby and said that he needed to talk to her. And this is after everything that happened in chapter 9 and 10. He's basically trying to warn Abby. You know, this is the last time I'm telling you, please do not date Travis. You have no idea who he is. They're about to go to a Halloween party at the Red Door. I feel like there's gonna be some drama. I also really love their gay best friend Finch. He's such a great character. He always brings a little bit of extra sass. My camera's dying, but I wanted to take as much as I could to update you guys. So basically, Travis tries to come to Abby's rescue at the bar and accidentally ends up like knocking her over, and she's really upset at Travis, and I'm really upset at Travis as well because I feel like he acts a little bit irrationally sometimes, but whenever he apologizes and how he just like is so sorry, it's like a little kid almost in a way, and it almost makes me want to like be like, oh, Travis, like, come here, let me comfort you. I know you didn't mean it. I feel like he needs to grow up and stop being so emotionally irrational. Maybe think about a decision here or there. Stop. Page 221, her roommate Cara, who like kind of overhears everything, looks at Abby and goes, like, you understand that like Travis is a bit codependent, like it's not healthy for someone to be that infatuated. And she says, it's dangerous to need someone that much. You're trying to save him and he's hoping you can. You two are a disaster. I smiled at the ceiling. It doesn't matter what or why it is. When it's good, Cara, it's beautiful. Is that beautiful disaster? Is that the title of the book? Stop, because I did not catch that the first time around. And I even gave it a special little tab, so I can quickly reference that. It's 1:31 a.m. I did not realize that. So I did say I had a goal to read to chapter in this book, to chapter 14, aka chapter 13. If you know, you know. So I am definitely going to read. Just been locked in, not updating you guys. Two of a kind is what this chapter is called. But basically Abby goes with Travis. Travis's family is in town and their dad is having a poker night. So this is the first time that Abby is meeting the brothers, all of the brothers in the Maddox family and the dad. There's Trenton, Tyler, Taylor, and Thomas. And they all also have their own respective books in the Maddox Brothers series. I'm really excited / enjoying this chapter a lot because we're getting a good glimpse of how each of the boys or men interact with each other and as individuals. And so it's nice to be able to not only get to know Travis more through his family, but also get to know Travis's family as individuals because they have their own books as well. There's kind of been this sort of mysterious side to Abby. She has this sort of secret that she wants to keep secret from everyone. Her and America aren't from Eastern. I don't remember exactly where they are or where Eastern is, but I know that they're from Kansas. And she is trying to not really run away, but in a way run away from the past that her last name carries. So we still have no idea like why she's so maybe ashamed is a good word, or wants to hide. But we do know that she doesn't really have an entirely fantastic relationship with her dad, and we also know that her dad used to gamble a lot. I think maybe I'm putting these conclusions together because I think I know what's going to happen, or remember what's going to happen. But the dad, Jim, asks Abby if she wants to play poker with them, and she kind of hesitates at first, and so all the other boys think that like she doesn't know how to play. But I remember in chapter, what, 7, titled 19, for her 19th birthday, she, in a way, swindled all of the people for their money. And not swindled in a bad, malicious way, but like she mentioned that she had a past and that her dad taught her some, maybe skills is the right word, that she doesn't always like to utilize, but whenever they come in handy, they come in handy. I just wonder if like Abby is like playing along. I just kind of get the vibe that she's like playing along, that she doesn't know how to play poker, but in reality, like she probably will win against all these guys. That's also something I really love about Abby, is that she's such like a badass. She's like this perfect blend of masculine and feminine energy. She can like handle her own, and she doesn't have it all figured out, but she can figure it out if she needs to. It's nice to see a character that's just like a beautiful balance. The boys just asked about Abby's last name, and she's trying to deflect. She's trying not to answer the question. Oh my god, they just asked her straight out. Thomas just asked her straight out, was related to Mick Abernathy. He's only one of the best poker players that's ever lived. Oh, okay. Crazy. Okay, Parker just said some stuff that, well, you better not. Okay, you better not. I don't condone violence, you know, but sometimes you just have like physical impulses, and I think that it was warranted. I mean, like I said, I don't condone physical violence. That was really rude. So I made it to my reading goal tonight, which is page 242. And that is chapter 14, because there is no 13 in this book. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night for the night. I want to keep reading, but it is 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm looking a little crazy, but good morning. It is currently 6:37 a.m. I've been trying to wake up at 5:30. The whole goal of that is so that I can get through my TBR. Today is the 16th of January, and I've been slowly but surely chipping away at Beautiful Disaster. Last time that I read and updated you guys, I was on chapter 13, or I made it up to chapter 13. But there is no chapter 13 in this book because of something that happens with Abby and her dad, and she's called Lucky Number 13. So because of that, there's no chapter 13 in this book, because 13 is actually not lucky. In chapter 14, America, Shepley, Travis, and Abby all go to a date party, the Sigma Tau date party. Since they've also officially established their relationship, Abby's broken up with Parker, or broken things off with Parker. She's affirmed to Travis that what they have is real, that their emotions for each other are both reciprocated. And since then, they've officially started dating. Travis already asked Abby to the Sigma Tau date party whenever they first started their bet, so now they're shopping for their dress. And like I said, whenever they get home, Travis ends up showing up with a new couch, a new comforter, a new bed or something like that, and then a new tattoo of Abby's name, well, of the name that he calls her. So Abby's a little bit freaked out by that, and he also got another tattoo, something in Hebrew, and she just gets a little bit freaked out by that. And then Shepley says to Abby, Travis is impulsive and goes balls to the wall on everything. This will tide him over until he can get a ring on your finger. Shepley, America, and Finch are great characters. They're not only great friends to both of their friends, like Shepley is cousins with Travis, so that's where his loyalties lie, other than with America. And then America is best friends with Abby, so she also is just like so protective of Abby. Also in chapter 12, they find out about who Abby's dad is. The Maddox family finds out about Abby's dad. She feels like now that Travis knows officially who her dad is, that his sentiment or his motives have changed a little bit in lieu of that. So they're at the Sigma Tau party. Abby's wearing this like really low cut back dress that Travis is like, whoa, you need to watch out, where's your jacket, da, da, da. He's being like extra protective. And so they're finally dancing at the Sigma Tau party, and Travis says to Abby, oh, everyone's looking at you in this dress, like you look gorgeous, da da da. And they start having this like heart-to-heart conversation. Abby just says, oh, like they're not looking at me, they're looking at you, and they're wondering why you're with me, like what makes me so special. You're not someone that dates anybody, like you've never been to a Sigma Tau date party, why are you here with me? Travis confesses to her that he's hopelessly and completely in love with her. He didn't know he was lost until Abby found him, and he says, you're the one thing I've got right, you're what I've been waiting for, Pigeon. Oh my goodness, this part was so emotional. They embrace and they give each other a kiss, and Abby says, it was in that moment that I realized why he'd gotten that tattoo, why he had chosen me, and why I was different. It wasn't just me, and it wasn't just him. It was what we were together that was the exception. Man, oh man, oh man. So then, by the end of the Sigma Tau party, something crazy happens. Do I tell you? I don't know, something crazy happens, and Abby ends up having to go to Vegas. And that's where we start chapter 15. And chapter 15, like I said, starts in Vegas. And Abby is unfortunately forced to have to gamble and raise up enough money to help her family member get out of debt. And it's unfortunate. It's a little bit of like a damn, like this is unfortunate that you have to go through this. It ends up happening. They end up though becoming $5,000 short of the goal that they needed to pay whoever this person was. And so Abby tries to go and confront them and say, hey, I just need, 24 hours. Like I have one more day to get you all the money. I just want to let you know that I have most of it. Here's the majority of it. I just need to get you $5,000 more. The person who is owed the money was not very happy about that. So he ends up sending his little henchmen on Abby and Travis, but Avis, that's their little name. Travis ends up completely annihilating all of the henchmen. Oh, well, it sounds like it's like a mystery or like a fantasy novel. It's not. The guy is connected to the mob, so he does have like meatheads that he uses to his pleasure or whatever. Travis ends up taking down all of the 2 guards that like try and attack them, and it impresses the guy whom they owe money. And so he ends up making a proposition to him that because he took out the fighter that was supposed to fight in this UFC underground fight the next day, that he should take his place. Travis ends up taking the guy's place. He wins. They don't really talk much about the fight. Oh, and also Abby's ex shows up in the book, and it's actually really, it's not very like random how, I mean it is random, but it's digestible how he does show up. But he ends up asking her out on a date in return for letting it slide. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so Travis ends up beating the guy, and they get back to the hotel, and Travis tells Abby that he has a surprise for her. She saw him talking with the guy whom they own money. She like questions like, oh, why were you talking to Benny? Like, what's up with that? He basically ends up telling her that Benny offered Travis money, 6 figures a fight, to fight for him. And Abby's completely against it. She already has been involved in her past with Benny and wants nothing to do with him in her future. And she adamantly tells Travis that she doesn't want him to have anything to do with Benny. He won't be able to get out of it. He's in the mob. You don't just tell Benny whenever you're done, da da da. Travis is like, no, I've got this, don't worry. Whenever Travis decides adamantly that he's not gonna listen to Abby and that instead he's gonna follow this opportunity and fight for Benny, Abby ends up making a very intense decision that unfortunately is warranted because of her past. And we're not 100% sure about her past, but we've definitely gotten a glimpse of her past throughout the entire time that we've been reading. So I can definitely understand where her reservations came from. But she ends up moving back to her dorm for the time being, and unfortunately they have their first fight that results in a breakup. So they do end up breaking up, which is so sad. And Travis is like torn up. He was already emotionally immature and like impulsive and irrational, but he just starts going bonkers, and starts like shattering things and breaking things and overturning tables and just causing a huge scene. He broke into their dorm room even though she knew he would go there, so she wasn't there. Just like a lot. But after reading their tumultuous beginning, it's almost like you want them to figure it out. Like you want them to understand that even though they're not that great together and they're probably a little bit toxic, that they have the capacity to figure it out. You want them to figure it out. There's no way that they can't figure it out, you know? Like, they end up separating for a little bit and they still see each other on campus and whatnot, but Abby is pretty adamant about not really wanting anything to do with Travis. He's proven to her that he's just like other men in her life. She's had situations where her dad has chosen money over her, and in that situation it felt like Travis was choosing the money that he could receive from all the fights over Abby. And so she decided in that moment that she needed to protect her peace and be there for herself. Travis approaches her one day and asks for a favor, and that favor is to follow through with her promise to cook his family the first turkey dinner that they've had since their mom has died. Abby is pretty upset about that because, you know, they're broken up. She doesn't really, it's not comfortable for her. She still loves him, and it's not comfortable for her to be in a situation where she has to pretend she's still with him in front of his family. Despite her initial thought process, she ends up agreeing to go help his family and cook his family this great dinner. While they're on their trip, she's pretty like I want nothing to do, not like nothing to do with you, but like basically just defining her boundaries. No kissing, no touching, no hugging, we're not sleeping in the same bed, like I need you to respect my space and I'll respect yours. And the family obviously has no idea, the brothers and the dad have no idea that they've broken up, so whenever they get there they end up finding out that their sleeping arrangement, they've been given a single bed to themselves. They end up sleeping, like Travis is sleeping on the floor and Abby was sleeping on the bed. And Abby felt bad one night, and Travis was like looking up at her and asking her like, oh, this is probably our last night together, huh? Is it okay if we cuddle? They end up cuddling. He tries to like give her a little kiss, but like she avoids it, and you know, they have like a moment where they're like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. And so the next day they wake up and it's Thanksgiving Day. They cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and by the end of the night and just like being around his family and his brothers and just seeing how well they have accepted her into the family, she has decided that she wants to give Travis another shot. But Travis, after the couple days that they've had together and all of the times that his advances have been sort of cast down by Abby, by the end of that trip, he ends up, you know, accepting and saying to her, you know, I accept that you don't want to be with me anymore. I accept that we're only going to be friends. I just need you to know, like, I need you to be my friend in my life. And he goes, but you want to be friends? And it ends up deterring her idea of being able to tell him that she wants him back, or like she was like waiting for him to be like, I want you back, which I think is a little bit frustrating. I definitely was a little bit frustrated at this point, because why didn't you just speak up? Like, you had you know he wants you. He's been showing you all weekend that he wants you back and has been verbally telling you, please take me back. But because he didn't do it this one particular time, you automatically think that he just wants to be friends with you. It was a little bit annoying. It's a little bit, because it's like, you're an adult. And granted, she's only 19, I think maybe 20 now. No, she just turned 19. So granted, I get it, she's still younger, but it's like, come on girl, you know he wants to be with you. Go back to Eastern, and Abby's back living at the dorms with America. One day America decides that she needs to go over to Shepley and Travis's apartment. It's also been all the way past winter break, and they're starting the spring semester. So it's a new semester with new classes, a new, you know, schedule, new system. So America goes over to Shepley and Travis's house, and at first Abby doesn't want to go. She's like, I don't want to bump into Travis, and America's like, no, he's not there, don't worry. They're at the Red Door, which is like the bar that is in town, which is significant to beautiful Oblivion. Anyways, Abby's waiting for America to look for whatever she needed, and she's petting Toto, which is the dog that Travis bought for her birthday. She's petting the dog, and suddenly she hears like the door burst open, and there's Travis standing there with another girl with a box of condoms in her hand. And it just triggers her. She gets really upset. She storms out and she's like, don't mind me, sorry I was here. And Travis is just like shocked. He's drunk, he's been at the Red Door, and obviously he had a whole idea of coming home and what he was going to do, but He like runs after Abby. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, I wasn't expecting you to be here. I wouldn't have brought Megan home if I would have known that you were gonna be here. She's like, don't let me stop you. Like, she's obviously hurt. And Shepley shows up as well, and in a way like defending Travis, which makes sense. Like, you know, Travis they've had a couple interactions since they've broken up and since the spring semester, and he's tried his best to be normal. I get why Travis decided to go back to his old ways. Like, if Abby doesn't want him anymore, he has no choice but to be there for himself. And if that, you know, helps him cope, you know, all power to him. At that point, I don't think Abby really had any say in what Travis was doing, because she was, you know, putting forth no effort to change the situation herself. Anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent. I'm just going off on Abby, honestly. Travis is like, oh, like, no, don't go, like, blah, blah, blah. And Abby is very upset. Travis gets really mad, and he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't do anything right by you. You don't want me. And then whenever I try to focus on myself, you're upset at me for focusing on myself, and da 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 da. And even Shepley comes to his defense a little bit, which makes America really upset. And America and Shepley actually end up breaking up as well, which is really sad. But they end up breaking for a short amount of time. America takes Abby home, and America is like, you know what, that was crazy. I can't believe that he would even defend him. How dare he? I will not stand to be by somebody who defends those actions, blah 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 blah. Shepley tries his dang hardest to get America back, to no avail. Honestly, the month of January passes by. They are a couple weeks away from the Sigma Tau Valentine's Day party, which they thought they weren't gonna go to after America and Shepley broke up. But one night, maybe like a week before the party, they decide to go out to the Red Door and have some fun with Finch. They're dancing and they're drinking and they're having a great time, and they notice some people some guys start to dance with them, and they're like dancing back, da da da. And all of a sudden, like, their dance partners disappear, and they end up finding out that Travis and Shepley were there and were pulling men off of them as they were like walking up to dance with them and like threatening them and whatever. So they finally catch on to it. They approach them and they confront them. By the end of it, basically America and Shepley are back together. And it's funny because the last thing Finch says is, I think we're going to the Sig Tau Valentine's Day party again. She said with a frown. Shepley and America were in a tight embrace and making a scene while they kissed passionately. So that was the past few chapters that I've gone through thus far. Don't take everything that I say as what it was. There was so much that happened in between the last update and this update, and I just freaking love this book. Still tabbing it. You can't really see, well, you can see whenever I flip through them, but my tabs are clear on the outside and colored on the inside. I only have about 70 or so pages left. And man, what a freaking crazy chapter that was. Holy crap. I just want Travis and Abby to figure themselves out. Like, they are such a beautiful disaster. I don't think I appreciated their relationship fully the first time I read it, or maybe I just don't remember. But rereading this and going through this and going through all the emotions that I am having, it's just crazy. Like, I don't even know if they're gonna stay together. Like, at this point, I don't even remember what the end of the book was like. Oh, man. I was a little bit frustrated with how Abby didn't tell Travis that she wanted to be back with him at Thanksgiving dinner. She just came clean about it, and he was like, what the freak, Bridget? But he forgave her. I'm finally on the last chapter. I didn't want it to end. Some crazy stuff just happened. Like, insane. I don't even want to say it. believe it, it's over. I have a lot of thoughts about this book. I'm definitely older. I think now that I'm actually an adult and can actually appreciate adult relationships from a different perspective, that my opinion has definitely changed a little bit. I'm still absolutely enthralled with this book, and this book will always have a special place in my heart. Should I just turn this light off? Maybe I'll just turn that light off. I'm having this like full circle moment where I'm able to reread this as an adult, and I'm just happy to be in this world again. Now, I will say I would be lying if I wasn't upfront with my thoughts. I'm not sure what I'm gonna rate this. I'm gonna take some time today and just let it all process, let it all sink in before I decide to rate it. There were some moments where I definitely felt like the characters were, whether that be emotionally immature or just not handling certain situations in the best way possible, and it kind of like affected me in a way that I don't remember feeling whenever I was younger. I feel like that's the part of my mind that wants things to go my way, and things don't always go your way whenever you want them to. Wants and needs of a book. Like it's its own entity almost, essentially. But with that being said, I did finally finish this book. It is tabbed. So I'm very happy that I reread this book. I will put my Goodreads down below if you want to follow me on Goodreads and check out my review. I think I'm going to wait to save my rating for my January monthly wrap up, and that'll be coming out very soon. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful disaster reading vlog. I'm sure you've seen this cover in this book in your local bookstores. Please go out and run out and get this book before the movie comes out. I mean, people love to read books before movies, right? Like, people love the book adaptations better than the movie adaptations. So please go read this book. Again, thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in my next video, and I hope to see you in the comment section down below. And I hope you have a wonderful, happy, healthy day.